Good morning and welcome to another one of my videos. Today's little job is a Ford Focus 2006 petrol, and we've got an alternator problem. I've been out to the guy this morning, done a few tests, and we've decided it's the alternator that's failing. No battery voltage to get into the battery, so follow me along and we'll see if we can change it. Alright, so when I got out to him this morning, he had a dead flat battery, so we boosted the battery and we started it, and then from the battery post there was no charge. It was down to about sort of 12.5 volt and dropping. The alternator is over here, just under this bracket, just down there. You can see it's off of it there, and the B post for the battery positive is under here, so we checked it there as well, and again that battery positive, so we know we've got continuity from there to the battery. It does have a smart charging plug, which is a 3-pin wire down there. I don't know whether you can see that, somewhere down there. Normally if you pull that off, if the alternator is good, it will revert to normal charging, which it didn't. So we've got to change the alternator. These do have two stretch belts. They don't have an idler or an adjuster. They have two belts, one for the air conditioning and one for the alternator and the water pump, blah blah blah, and they're both stretch belts. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to try to move the alternator, because you can normally move the alternator back off its bracket, and that will take some of the tension off the belt to get this off without having to stretch it. So we're going to do that. So first jobs we're going to do is we're going to disconnect the battery over there. We're going to remove the power steering pump and its bracket, and we're also going to move this bottle out of the way over here somewhere so we can get rid of these pipes out of the way, and we'll go from there. Right, we're a bit further ahead. We've taken the battery out completely because I've got to swap that for another battery. That battery's on charge. What we've done, we've taken the coolant reservoir from there and we've moved it over here. It just fitted on with little slot tabs on the sides of the bottle. You just work them off and move that out of the way, so that gives us a bit more clearance. We've disconnected the 3-pin plug from down there and the main battery positive B+ wire. So that was just a press-on connector. That was a 10mm nut, and I've just put them wires over there. I've taken out the 15mm bolt out of here, which is that one. That one goes in there. And I've taken the 15mm nut off of there. So now I've got to take this Torx head. I've got to take this stud out of this bracket, and then there's, I think it's a 13mm bolt down here. Got to slacken that off, and then hopefully the alternator can pivot backwards to take enough tension off the belt to get the belt off. Right, now as you can see, we've taken the stud out and we've slackened it's a 15mm bolt underneath the alternator, just one single bolt that goes along the bottom. So once you've loosened that, you can then tilt the alternator back, and that takes all the slack off the belt. So then you can just unhook the belt off of the alternator and just let that drop down somewhere so we ain't going to lose it. And then what we need to do is just undo this bolt a little bit more, and then the alternator should just slot out. Right, so then once you've taken the 15mm bolt out the bottom, the alternator then becomes free, and you can, let's get some light on here, and then you can just withdraw the alternator out of the top. Nice and simple, no worrying about stretch belts. So that's where the bottom bolt goes. It goes through the alternator bracket and into that mounting there, and then you've got the water pump here, and the only one you've got to be careful of this power steering pressure sensor here. Careful you don't snap that off. So we'll get some numbers off the alternator and we'll go down the factors and get another one. Okay, it's about an hour later. I'm back from the parts factors, and let's see what we've got here. So apparently this is 105 amp. So there was a choice of two, 105 or 120, which is lucky because the 120 they didn't have in stock. Spot on. Right, so fitting is a reversal of removal. What we need to do is to stick this alternator down there, and we need to get that 15mm bolt in the bottom so we can pivot it up. So we'll be back in a sec. Right, I have pinched up the bottom bolt that you can see down there. That's the 15mm bolt that goes through to that bracket. I've slipped the belt back on to all the pulleys, and now when we tension it back up again, we push the alternator back into place, it goes a bit cockeyed. So what we need to do, we need some gripping equipment so we can line it up, and then we can put our long stud back into there. So what we do is we slip that into there initially. Just bear me a second. Right, and so holding the alternator in place with a big pair of grips, we then have to wind the stud into that first mounting bracket hole. So if I can pop the camera up there somewhere, we're going to be able to do this. Put the ratchet on there. Right, I'll bring you back in a second when that's right in. Right, so the stud's right all the way in. It's quite a long stud, it must go right through to into the head there somewhere. So now we can put this bracket back in place. Drop it down there. Put that on there, like so. We can stick our other 15mm bolt in there. And we have our 15mm nut on there. Right, what I'll do is I'll tighten that one up, and tighten the one at the bottom there, and then we'll be back. Right, so now we're all securely back in place. What we need to do is to put the wires back in place. So if we find where the battery B+ wire is over there, and we'll slip that onto its plug there. Oh, that was a little bit tight. I just had to trim a little bit of plastic around the edge of that mounting to get the connector back on, because I think the mounting was a little bit thinner on this one than it was on the original one. So we'll slide our plug back on, our 3-pin plug. We slide that back onto place. Where's that? There's down there. There we go, that's clicked into place. And what we need to do is just reroute our bottles again. Right, so that's my water bottle back in place with me. Tap them down. So you've got one lug down there, you've got one lug there. They just clip into place. Then you just need to reroute your pipes down to these little plastic clips here, and then your main water pipe into that bracket that goes down next to the power steering reservoir. That's just bolted on with 1/8mm bolt as we took it off. So all it needs now is we need to put the battery back in once it's charged. Right, battery's back in again, and at the moment I've just taken it off charge. We've got a voltage of 13.03 volts, or 2 volts. Let's go and start it up. Let's find the key. Let's stick the key in there. And we're charging nicely. Right, so there you go, quick and dirty way of changing the alternator. Saves jacking the car up, taking the wheel off, taking the inner shield out, and then prying off those stretch belts. First one off the off the air conditioning, and then prying off the second one off the alternator and the water pump and crankshaft and all that lot. And then you've got to go through the palaver of putting all the stretch belts back on afterwards. You've got plenty of room from the top on these, so do it the quick and dirty way. Less hassle, it's quite straightforward. The whole job took probably what, half an hour. So yeah, quick and dirty. Okay guys, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.